Hello and welcome. It's, what a day! What a 24 hours it has been. We're witnessing some of the most insane things I've ever seen in my life, and I think we've ever seen in the history of this country. As many of you know, we still 24 hours into majority of polls closing, and we still don't have an answer. We still don't have a clear understanding of what is happening. We know that there's election fraud running rampant throughout the country. Lots of uncertainty, lots of like unbelievable shifts and ballots. Just an absolutely um, just an incredible situation that I don't know if anybody has ever witnessed or expected. I guess we should have expected. This is something that's just unbelievable. It's crazy. It's a crazy situation, but I think that we've got God on our side, and as we know that the truth will always prevail. So as we go through the next 24 hours, we need to make sure we hold the line, keep our faith, make sure we take ourselves and treat ourselves right. Make sure we remember that trusting the plan is truly the way. It's what we're here for. We've been told this. We've been trained for this. We were put here on this time in this planet for this alone. And I know that I believe in our POTUS, and I believe in what POTUS has continually reminded us of. And I will. He's fought for us, and I'll continue to fight for him. So as we go forward, just remember this is all part of the plan, and even though the plan may not look as glamorous as bright, shiny as we hoped it would be, we we're in for a rough couple days, and you know, continue to stay positive as much as I can. And I know it's tough, man. Past 24 hours has been a wild ride. I'm sure it has been for all of you. So I just continue to say, hold tight, hold tight, hold the line tight, stay positive. Um, we're looking at the the electoral map, and we look at the numbers. Stay away from all mainstream news sources. Uh, we know that it's incredible amounts of uh, misinformation. Uh, Joe Biden came out today and basically declared himself a victor, and Donald Trump has also been declaring victory. And we know that he has an overwhelming lead in Pennsylvania. He's got the lead in Georgia. He's got the lead in North Carolina, and he had the lead in Michigan. And I was up late last night watching all of this go down, and I'm not sure what time it was, like 4:30 in the morning. Michigan time, all of a sudden there was a jump in the ballots by over 100, close to 150,000, where Biden was down like 150,000, and all of a sudden he's up by 9,000 in a matter of moments, and nothing changed with the amount that votes that came in, and there was 95% of the vote in, and all of a sudden there was a gigantic jump that was all for Biden, and Donald Trump's vote never changed. So um, there's something incredibly questionable happening here on all levels. And in Arizona, the Sharpie Gate is, as it's starting to be called, Sharpie Gate is running rampant through Arizona. I guess they were handing out Sharpies instead of ballpoint pens. And if it was bleeding through your ballot, it wasn't be able to be counted by the machines. So there was hundreds and maybe thousands, and who knows? We don't even know how many ballots total have been discarded and thrown out. We're seeing video from all around the country of people standing in polling places, literally opening ballots and throwing them in trash cans. This is just absolutely unlike anything we've ever seen, and yet we have mainstream media literally claiming states, including Fox News, which is the biggest fraud and out there. The level of lying they I've been saying all along that they are they are the the basically the sheep wolf in sheep's clothing. They are that just I can't even remember what the word I've been using all along. It happens every time I get online. I'm not sure. My words just go blank. It's kind of crazy. I have to work on that one. Um, but they are just they come off as a supporter. I think everyone right now needs to make sure we ban Fox News. Everyone needs to completely realize that they have been just the opposition. I mean, I think we've known that from the beginning, but now it's becoming more evident, more clear. And as their ratings fall, no matter how much we love Tucker and a few other, very few other people on there, I think it's time to kick Fox to the curb. Newsmax has been doing a great job. Right Side Broadcasting has been doing a great job. OAN has been phenomenal. But as we know, we've been looking around the country and we've been seeing just all sorts of levels of fraud, and nobody's covering it except for the the alternative news sources. I want to start by going to a sharing a press conference today. Just happened not too long ago, I guess a couple hours ago, actually, um, that Rudy Giuliani came out. And he was sharing some info, giving his take on what's been happening. So I'd love to share some Rudy Giuliani just to get a little insight information on what's going on with him. And then Project Veritas came out, and they have a big bombshell to drop this evening. So we'll have some Project Veritas we have to share. And there's a few other clips that I've got put together that I found online about catching some election fraud and looking at some of these numbers. I'm gonna try to stay away from numbers just because I just can't really trust anything that I'm seeing right here right now. So what I'm gonna do is try to stay away from sharing numbers so much, but know do the best I can to cover it. And if you're here hanging out with me, thanks for hanging out. This is third broadcast. I'm gonna try to keep on building this platform and keep on sharing as much as I can. This is a whole new experience for me. So thanks for bearing with me in the learning process of this entire journey here. Um, and I look forward to being able to get to a point where things calm down a little. I can actually have some guests on, I can get better at producing a show that is worth your time and your energy. And it's just great practice for me to come through. Once again, my name's Scott. I go by Nexius or DJ Nexius. I'm on SoundCloud, put out mixes twice a week, and hopefully eventually I'll figure out how to get some music in this show that I can get away with without being taken off of certain platforms that cause like to censor anything and cause copyright infringement charges. Um, so as I go through here, we'll see what we can put together. But let's hear from Rudy Giuliani. Let's check out, see what he has to say.
It is very, very sad that we're here in the city that's really the birthplace of our democracy. And this is among one of the most anti-democratic things I've ever seen or encountered. And it's not just here in Philadelphia. This is going on all over the country. We have filed a lawsuit. The lawsuit actually required that when these mail-in ballots that you know are highly suspicious anyway, this form of balloting has always been considered the most prone to fraud. That's according to the New York Times when it didn't apply to candidate President Trump. Well, we were supposed to be allowed by law to observe the counting of the ballots. Now, observe means, to any intelligent person, being able to look at it. The way it's interpreted by the Democrat crooked machine of Philadelphia is that the observers can be 20 or 30 feet away, never able to see the ballot itself, never able to see if it was properly postmarked, properly addressed, properly signed on the outside. All the things that often lead to disqualification of ballots or make it very easy to dump 50,000 totally fraudulent ballots because they're not observed. This went on for 20 hours while all of you thought there was some kind of legitimate count going on here in Philadelphia. It was totally illegitimate. So we went back to court and we went before a Democrat judge. No need to tell you what the result in Philadelphia is if you're before a Democrat judge. Obviously a political hack who doesn't know the meaning of the word observe. Observe means to be able to look. Not a single Republican has been able to look at any one of these mail ballots. They could be from Mars, as far as we're concerned, or they could be from the Democratic National Committee. Joe Biden could have voted 50 times, as far as we know, or 5,000 times. The ballots could be from Camden. Philadelphia, unfortunately, and I would say this about my own city, has a reputation for voter fraud. You have a reputation for dead people voting, and we're going to go look at just how many dead people voted here. I didn't think we'd have to do that, but we will. And you'll have a reputation for people being bussed in from Camden voting here. Wouldn't be the first time that happened. But this goes way beyond any of that. And let me also add that this isn't happening just here. We have exactly the same lawsuit in Wisconsin, where exactly the same thing happened. Except in Wisconsin, mysteriously at 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock in the morning, about 120,000 ballots appeared. Oh, here come these ballots. Well, we have no idea if they really are ballots. We have no idea if they're signed, if they're postmarked properly, if it isn't just the same person who submitted 100,000 ballots, and they all got counted. This is the way they intend to win. Now I'm informed by former Congressman Sweeney, who's been going around the country and collecting this information, that similar situation in Arizona, similar situation in Nevada, and a similar situation, what am I missing, John? Where are you? In Michigan, in Detroit, Michigan. Again, let me be specific what it is. This whole new thing that never happened before in our country, these mail-in ballots, which has been a cause of real concern for everyone because they can easily be fraudulent. Well, one of the things that the law attaches to that is the right for both parties to observe the ballot, the way we do with absentee ballots. You make certain it's properly signed. On the outside, there's a signature. You make sure that it's properly postmarked. You make sure that it's properly addressed. and then you pass on it. A number of these are often challenged by the Democrat representative or the Republican representative. We never got a chance to look at a single one of them. The gentleman here who did this for us says about 100,000 ballots went through that process in the 20 plus hours in which they wasted his time by not allowing him to see a single ballot. Well, that's 120,000 ballots that should just be taken out of the count. So you want to look at that number, that 120,000 should come out. And this is an area in which Biden is getting 60, 70% of the vote. I don't know if this is going on any other place, but it is going on in with enough frequency in Wisconsin that we've brought suit, and now we'll have to look into 3 other places. What it says to me is this is a concerted effort of the crooks that run the Democrat Party. And you know these big city machines are crooked. You know that. 20 years, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, 100 years of one-party rule leads to corruption of all kinds. Voter fraud is one of the biggest because that's how you keep your power. But we're not going to let them get away with it. They're not going to steal this election. This election gets decided by the people. These people, the elite, they don't care about the people. The people are the deplorables, the chumps. They're not important. To President Trump, he's the whole reason that he ran for office. And he's the whole reason for which he's carrying on this campaign, so that your vote can mean something, so that your vote doesn't get wiped out by 100,000 fraudulent, meaningless paper ballots that no one gets to observe. So we are going to continue the lawsuit here. We're going to bring a second one, and then we're going to bring a federal lawsuit. And we're going to take a very good look at whether we bring this nationally. We certainly are going to bring it here and in Wisconsin. Quite possibly we'll do a national lawsuit and really expose the corruption of the Democrat Party. But this is beyond anything I've ever seen before. This comes when you think you have so much power and you own the media that you can do anything you want. Well, sorry. We're going to fight for the people. We're going to vindicate their right. And the ultimate result is President Trump has won Pennsylvania. I've never heard of a count where you're ahead by 400,000 with 80+% counted, and they haven't called it for you yet. They called California the moment the polls closed. How many votes do you have to be ahead to win, for a Republican to win here? How many votes do we have to be ahead? 400,000 is not enough? With 80+% counted, I think there's only 14% of the vote to go. Do you think we're stupid? You think we're fools? You know something? The Democrats do think you're stupid, and they do think you're fools, and that's why you get called deplorable and chumps. It's over. We're going to stick with this. We're going to win this election. We've actually won it. Just a matter of counting the votes fairly.
So there you have it. Right from Rudy Giuliani, there's lawsuits in place where Trump organization and his lawyers are going forward. They're going to challenge this all the way, bring this to truth, bring the corruption to light. Uh, Hopefully, it's going to be a nationwide lawsuit, and all of this corruption will come to light all the way across the board. Dark to light. This is the time that it all needs to come out. There's no more hiding this, no more keeping it under covers. Never ever can we allow this to happen again. It's time to put an end to it right now. And so it's also a time to put an end to Twitter and Google and their election influence and the way that they can sway votes with censoring, which they've been doing. They've been censoring Donald Trump all day long. His quotes have been, or his posts on Twitter have been just taken out, from what I understand, on Facebook as well. And they're shutting down the president of the United States and his connection, his communications. Just absolutely unheard of. Never in my life did I think that I would see anything like this. But hmm, wow, it's been intense. I'm still. I have to admit, I'm just fired up, and part of me wants to just, yeah, just so angry. But the other part of me is trying to stay balanced, calm, and stay in faith, and know that God has a plan for us all, and this is just part of the pathway to bring all the darkness to light. This is what we need to see, like many of the things have been pointed out, right? Is by our favorite Patriot insider, or the CUE, is that you know, only when the people find the will to change, it had to be this way. This is not another 4 year election. God wins. Sometimes you can't tell the people the truth. You must show them. This is a little post from Twitter. John Reese. It's a retweet. Only when evil is forced into light can we defeat it. Only when they can no longer operate in the shadows can people see the truth for themselves. Only when people see the truth for themselves will people understand the true nature of their deception. Seeing is believing. Sometimes you can't tell the public the truth. You must show them. Only then will the people find the will to change. It had to be this way. This is not another 4 year election. God wins. So that's where we're at. I'm trying to continue to remind myself of that, and stay as true to the faith as I can. Stay in my positive state as possible. It's it's a little bit of a challenge right now, that's for sure. I don't think I've ever been this aggravated, upset, confused. I don't even know have words. I don't know if I've ever felt anything like this in my life, and I've definitely never witnessed anything like this in my life. And as it's becoming more clear, we are truly seeing a war in this country, and we're seeing a revolution right before our eyes, the Second American Revolution. Um, may we be able to expose all of the fraud. Maybe we actually be able to bring some some reliance, some trust back into the organization, the republic, bring some faith back in the election process. Because right now, as we've been finding and looking deeper and deeper into this election fraud has been going on for a very long time. And only now, with the scamdemic pushing everybody in the country to go for mail in ballots, I mean, we knew from the get go that this was a setup. And if you don't think that President Trump and his administration and the team didn't have people together and ready and knew this was coming, then you've been keeping your eyes closed. You're blind. Donald Trump has been one, two, three steps ahead on everything so far, and for us to think that he's been sleeping on this election fraud concept, nah. There's been some safeties put in place. There's been some people who can keep eyes out who are going to report, and we're going to find out all this fraud. We're going to find out exactly how deep this swamp runs, and people are going to pay. It's all going to be exposed, and this corrupt system is going to be taken down for good, and we will prevail for the patriot rising. We will have this group of true patriots taking back over control of our country. There's a true patriot, James O'Keefe, Project Veritas. He's been doing the work. He's been exposing a lot of voter fraud. He's been voting a lot of corruption throughout the government, and the press. Let's hear what he has to say. He's says he's got something important to share over the next couple days. So, or I guess this evening.
Hello everyone, James O'Keefe here in an undisclosed location. Hey, we got a big story tonight coming in the state of Michigan. A lot of ballot fraud, a lot of things that we're exposing, and this one's pretty shocking. Shows some illegal voter fraud. We have been getting thousands of tips. We've read every single one of them. We are on top of all of them. Our journalists are in the field. Thank you for sending your tips to VeritasTips@protonmail.com. We have dozens of people across the country with the hidden cameras corroborating this information. Keep sending it our way, working as hard as we can. Stay tuned. Next Project Veritas bombshell out this evening in the state of Michigan. Hello everyone, James O'Keefe here in an undisclosed location. Hey.
There you go, James O'Keefe. Again, continuing to bring out the truth. Project Veritas, true patriot, bringing out some amazing revelations for us. Take a look at a tweet that has been censored and taken down from the president. We have claimed for electoral vote purposes the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, which won't allow illegal observers, the state of Georgia and the state of North Carolina, each one of which has a big Trump lead. Additionally, we hereby claim the state of Michigan if, in fact, there was a large number of secretly dumped ballots, as has been widely reported. It's just so hard to believe that this man who's fought so hard and sacrificed so much is going through this denial of his victory. He has put everything he had into this protecting us, protecting this country, protecting the liberty, the freedoms, and he gets denied the actual celebration, the gratification of winning his reelection. And instead, they continue to torture him, they continue to torture his family, threaten his existence, and defame him every day. It is absolutely the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. And I truly believe that these people will pay for the way that they've treated this man. I've never seen any president who's had a heart this big, who's actually cared, who's actually been able to speak it like it is and not hide behind political bullshit. So, yeah, trying to keep it mellow here. It's good. It's good. I need a little fire, I guess. If I keep it inside, I'll just burn up. So let's take a look at a little video that's been taking place. This is by Millie Weaver. She was recording a group of some political insiders who were collaborating to create violence and after the election. And as we know, there's a violence that started up in many places throughout this country. So let's see what Millie got captured on tape here.
One of the versions of the target map that got put together got out among the right wingers. This was discussed on some of the signal loops. I don't remember which ones. And so it is possible that we will see opposition.
We do know that there are right wingers gathering at a particular bar tonight, and we're suggesting people stay far away from it and try to avoid all of those specific confrontations if possible. So just to know that it's not, we're continuing to work. We know we're on the right track. We're the defenders of democracy, and that we should try to be smart about how we track and manage what comes in, differentiating between nastiness and potential actual threat. And who's TPC?
Nadine, just for the benefit of those of us on the call, where is it that the right wingers are gathering that we should be staying away from?
Oh, I'll look it up. It's a bar on 11th Street. I'll find
and
it
you're
for you.
saying Ari's bar on the stack, Ari's bar on the chat.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, they've gathered there before. That sounds likely.
So what we're asking people to do, because we've been outed on Breitbart, and of course Trump tweeted out the Stopping the Coup guide, and then most recently there's been a lot of attacks through both Lisa's video, the 3-hour video, and then our federal workers video that had a troll in it, and it's totally gone wild. And we've been tracking things.
So there you have it. This is the group that's still continuing to plot. They've as they get revealed, they continue to change their plans and continue uh, to can collaborate to create violence, to create unrest throughout the country. And so keep an eye on these guys and see how they get revealed, see how they get brought to light. As we know, they will get brought to light. So there's been many scenes like this coming up through around the country, and this is at a ballot station, I believe. Remember, I think this was Pennsylvania.
What the second candidate would be, because the Republican
Take a look.
candidates
This guy's
were
opening his
divided. In
ballots
fact,
at a
there was
polling
a
station,
bitter
looking at them,
fight
seeing
going on
who he's
between
voted for,
Kelly Loeffler and Doug
then
Collins. Kelly
dumping it in trash.
able to get that 50% plus one threshold that Georgia requires in order to win the election outright. We
We're
also
seeing
knew that
all sorts of
Democrats had
videos like that all across the country. This is state race in Wisconsin. As I was saying, I was up late last night and watched this all happen. And all of a sudden, Trump had a pretty significant lead, 100,000 votes or more. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, there's a straight line that you can see right here. And the straight line does not exist in typical polling. All of a sudden, 100,000 plus with 90% turned in, all of a sudden come in and all for Biden, where we have a trend on an arc right here. You can see where this is at. And we have a straight line that just jumps straight up. Just not just not normal. And then you can see the same thing over here. This is Michigan. Same thing. All of a sudden, we get this straight line jump of all blue votes. Unheard of. So as we continue to keep uncovering all of this and diving deep into the numbers and find out exactly where we lie, I know we have to be patient. I know that we're going to continue to see some eye-opening experiences throughout the country. This is another ballot situation. I guess they were kicking out ballot watchers. This is in Detroit, in Michigan. And they were plotting as Republican ballot watchers, attorneys are being removed from the ballot counting center. And they're clapping as the Democratic watchers are clapping as the GOP poll watchers are being removed. It's like hyenas. Skin crawl. Well, as I said, it just keeps coming in, keeps coming in. This letter from the Trump Pence campaign came out second, so the day Democrats are panicking because Joe Biden has not run up a large enough lead in early votes in battleground states, and they know the President Trump in person votes on election day will make up the difference and propel him to victory. Biden's political operatives have already been distributing talking points and research to delegitimize election day results by coaching surrogates to refer to the president's election day success as a red mirage. The operatives are advising surrogates and media to create smokescreen by casting blame all around, imagining postal delays and falsely claiming that mail in ballots that have simply not been returned should be considered legitimate, votes that need to be counted. None of this will be true, but it will be held up as a proof that President Trump's victory is a so called red mirage. No one should fall. Down to the next section. We are aware that Democrats have already cut television ads they are prepared to deploy to further cement the red mirage disinformation, seeking to convince the people that all Joe Biden would need for victory is more time, extending well beyond the election day. At the same time, we fully anticipate that Democrats will be in court arguing to extend deadlines for accepting and counting votes mailed and received well past deadlines enacted by individual state laws. Americans should remember that Biden has assembled a massive team of lawyers who will try to loosen elections integrity so they can steal the election, and also recalled that Hillary advised Biden not to concede defeat under any circumstances. The last gasp of the Biden campaign will be ugly and it will be ruthless. What actually has happened is the Democrats fielded a candidate in Joe Biden who excites virtually no one, and his potential votes are not motivated to go to the potential voters are not motivated to go to the polls in person. Democrats also made the mistake of spending months frightening their supporters away from voting in person because of the coronavirus. And now they're realized that early vote lead will not be enough. Biden's campaign also committed political sin of failing to build a ground game of field operations. Now they are paying the price with their inability to turn out supporters. Biden knows that the votes he has or he already has in the bank through early voting are from supporters they already had, so he has cannibalized his own election day turnout. Because of the Biden predicament, we are on guard for Democrats to attempt to subvert state deadlines for receiving the counting ballots, and we will fight to make sure they adhere to the law. President Trump wants every eligible voter to be able to vote once, and have it counted. So that came out the day before the election. As we see, it's exactly what happened. The red mirage came to pass, and we've been just feeling the disease of this unknowing, this level of corruption that has continued to bring so much pain to this country. And the thing that scares me the most is the amount of violence, the amount of distrust in the legitimacy of this country and the legitimacy of this process is really disturbing me. It's scary, scary situation. So take a look at this. This is Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson. This is the 2020 Michigan election results, and so um, this was as of 11/4/2020 at 3:14 Central Time, and had Donald Trump up 52%, 46%, 2 million votes to 1,773 votes, 2,010 votes. So 2,010,000 votes. So he's up 52% here. However, if you take a look at the mainstream news and you actually take a look at what the all of the reporters are saying, is that they've called Michigan for Biden. However, we're looking right here, and there's a major difference in what they're reporting and what is right here on Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson's. So I guess we'll have to see. So continues to keep coming down to a lot of misinformation. It's really difficult to know who to trust right now, but what I do know is you don't trust any mainstream news, including Fox News. Don't trust anything outside of direct communications. Trust your president. His communications are completely clear, and he's been very transparent. So there's another little thing that I found pretty interesting in this situation, and this is voter registration by date. Sorry, by state. And if you take a look here, 125% of the vote turned out. So you had over 300,000 voters beyond what was registered. So 25% more voters than it was actually registered showed up to vote in Nevada. That's pretty interesting, right? So we only have 6,469,000 registered voters in Pennsylvania, and we had 7,041,672,000 show up. So that's 9% above what's actually registered in Pennsylvania. You're telling me 25% new voters showed up to register day of in Nevada? Something seems a little fishy there. Also, 170% of the registered voters, 107, sorry, of the registered voters in Minnesota showed up. So that's 197, 528 new voters just showed up on election day. And why aren't they being showed on the registered polls? Very interesting. Same thing in North Carolina, 106%. Same thing in Wisconsin, 105%. And same thing in Michigan, 105%. 101% in Arizona. Interesting. Very, very interesting. We come down to Georgia, and only 96% of the registered voters show up, which is higher. I think it's with the highest election turnout in Georgia history, as far as I'm aware. So something incredibly fishy going on here. I, uh, I've never seen anything like that, and I don't think any of us have. See, see what the people who are smarter than me, these lawyers who are sitting there working for president and trying to bring truth to light, to come up with. And, I know the resources are there, and I can't imagine that the best people in the world aren't prepared and ready and knew this is coming when you had seen all the election fraud that's happened in 2017, when you see all the election fraud that happened in 2016, I'm sure they were prepared. And the truth will come to pass. So let's see, this is straight out of Joe Biden's mouth. So this is a great little clip that explains exactly what's happening.
Secondly, we're in a situation where we have put together, and you guys did it for our the President Obama's administration before this. We have put together, I think, the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics. Secondly,
again,
we're in a situation where we have put together, and you guys did it for our the President Obama's administration before this. We have put together, I think, the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics.
Thanks,
Secondly,
thanks
we're in a situation.
Thanks. We appreciate that, Joe. Telling us straight up as it is. He's already predicted. We already know the game plan was ahead of time, and it was set up in place during the Obama administration, right out of the horse's mouth. Good old Joe Biden telling us the truth. It was the first time for everything, I guess. So this is a raw video. This is from a lawyer who was in Wayne County. I believe that is Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania or Michigan. I'm not sure exactly which county this is, but apparently he was a lawyer. He was in there trying to. He was a poll observer, I guess, for the GOP, and he's telling exactly kind of what's going on. It's not the clearest video, but let's take a look at this real quick.
How do you know? He said, we're at 125 because they signed in when they showed up this morning. And if they didn't sign out, it's too bad. They don't have enough GOP people in there, and they won't let us in. I sit out there for 2 hours, an hour and a half, won't let anybody in. Even flash the attorney card, doesn't matter. They're not letting anybody in. It's complete nonsense. They're boarding up the glass windows where you can see what's going on in there when people start filming. It is a complete nightmare. It's a complete sham, but they're not fooling anyone. They're not fooling anyone. Who buys this? Who believes this? It is complete chaos in there.
Election. With the windows. The windows are
so when you get in there, in front of the polling center where they're counting the votes, where people are just dumping piles and piles of tablets on the top of the tables, and a handful of people are looking through them. There's supposed to be 5 people there. There's not 5 people. Sometimes there's only 3 people. So when people are taking pictures of this, they're taking big cardboard pieces of paper and holding them up so you can't see what's going on inside. It's complete chaos, but most importantly, they don't tell us how many GOP people are in there. They're only going by the register that people sign in this morning. Nobody was told to sign out when you leave. So it's complete nonsense. It's complete nonsense.
It's illegal. Fair election.
Exactly.
We want a fair election.
This is not a fair election. This is a joke.
So they're here. Not a fair election. This is what's happening all across America. The fraud just keeps getting posted out. So we'll just continue to hold the line, keep the faith, and understand that we're in a war right now. We need to continue to be strong, be soldiers, have each other's backs. So make sure that people that you connect with, people you understand and have communication with, support them, let them know that the mainstream narrative is not the real narrative. Hold strong in the line and don't believe all the lies that are being told. So that's the best thing we can do is support each other through this, because I'm sure there's people with a lot less understanding of what's happening that is having a really difficult time. And obviously we always denounce any sort of violence. So make sure we stay calm, make sure that take the high road in this situation, and trust the lawyers, trust the moves, but can raise your voice, speak out, share the truth, share all the information online, let everybody know that this election is being stolen. It's being stolen right out from underneath our feet. This is a quote from Joseph Stalin. The people who cast the votes decide nothing. The people who count the votes decide everything. Proven 100% right now. We're finding out that more and more every moment. This is another video. Again, I don't know the source of this, but this is another video of ballots for Donald Trump being burned. So collected all these ballots for Donald Trump.
Oh, Trump. You gotta do what you gotta do. Fuck Trump. I've got around 80.
These radical left haters are doing. They're just destroying as many ballots as possible, whether it's dumping them in a lake, throwing them in the garbage, shredding them up, or burning them down.
You work at the mail or polling place, you gotta do what you gotta do. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Fuck Trump.
Hate-filled are these people. It's just absolutely gross. So, as we go through, I've found some quotes that continue to remind me of some of the stuff that we're going. So I'm going to just take a peek at a couple of these and read them out to you. It's time to take back our country and make America great again. Let us salute and pray for the brave men and women in uniform who will undertake this assignment to bring forth peace, unity, and return power to the people. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have eternal life. Love is patient, love is kind. These are little excerpts from our favorite intelligent insider. There is simply no other way than to use military. It is that corrupt and dirty. Please be safe and pray for those in harm's way as they continually protect and serve our great country. Let these coming days be remembered in history as the time we fought to recapture the Republic and from those evil bad actors who so long have sacrificed the good people of this land for their own personal gains. Fight the good fight, let justice be served. So as we go through, I keep being reminded of these positive quotes. It's time to come back to prayer. It's time to come back to the reminder of what this movement is really all about. And it's regaining our freedoms. It's regaining um, the sovereignty of our own individual beings. And we know that as we go forward, it's going to continue just to get rocky. It's going to look a little scary for the next few days, the next few months. But overall, trusting in the plan, trying to understand that we we've got this. We need to understand that this is a plan that's been put in place, and all of the people in this world to be shaken when the truth of what's really all about comes out. I have this video, another video. This is from Michigan, another polling place in Michigan, and
all the Republican challengers out of this room. Everybody standing in this area.
we want all Republican challengers out of this room. I'm not answering any more questions. So as this stuff continues to pour in, we'll just keep paying attention to what's happening. Keep eyes on the prize. Keep realizing that what we're seeing is a true revolution. This is a true attempted coup, a takeover, as we've seen with the color revolutions in other places in the country, in the world. We know that this is how they've done regime change in many countries throughout the world, and now that manipulation, that control, that abuse of power has come home to our country. So I want to take a listen at this. This is from InfoWars originally. I'm not sure. It was a little while ago, but it's got some good information here. It talks a little bit about George Soros. It's one of the key architects to what we're seeing happening in front of us, as far as I'm concerned.
Yesterday, we had the much talked about call between Putin and Trump, talking about how they could work together against their common enemy, ISIS, talking about how they could promote stability and safety around the world. That, quite frankly, would be a reversal, wouldn't it, of Obama and Hillary's policies that promoted instability the policies that set the Middle East on fire. And of course, in the most charitable look back at ISIS, the creation of ISIS, we could say that it was due to their incompetence, but we know better than that. We know that the Obama administration funded, trained, equipped, and continues to run interference for ISIS as they use them as a surrogate in Syria for yet another regime change. But there's another enemy besides ISIS that we have in common, and that is George Soros and his color revolutions. What we have seen in the last week is the beginning of that. And we're going to talk about not only the pattern of tactics that Soros and his organizations have used, but how that matches in what we see in America right now. And I understand that the color revolutions are something we've seen throughout the former Soviet Union since about 2000. It is a tactic that has been used. Understand, they use students, they use non-governmental organizations. It's a pattern of behavior that is now happening here in America. And of course, the Russian government has said that they consider the tactics of a color revolution to essentially be a form of warfare. It has usually been done in response, they say, to an unfair election, a disputed election. However, the common thing that is always a part of this is to say that they're going to overthrow an authoritarian regime. So as part of that, it is essential for them to portray Trump as an authoritarian, as a Hitler figure. There's a quote from Anthony Kortisman of the Center for Strategic and International Studies. He said, Russian military leaders view the color revolutions as a new U.S. and European approach to warfare that focuses on creating destabilizing revolutions in other states as a means of serving their security interests at low cost with minimal casualties. So how has this looked in the last week or so? We've had reports here in Austin of massive buses being close to the areas where they had riots. Of course, the local Fox station pushed back on that, said, well, those were for another event. Well, whatever. They didn't really talk to anybody at the buses to say, what were you here for? We've had other reports of the same thing happening in other cities across this country as violent protests have erupted. We see this happening in Chicago. We reported on this earlier. But I want to go back to a story that was done by Free Thought at the end of the week last week, where they looked at whether or not this is a grassroots, organic revolution, protest, or response to the election, or whether or not this is AstroTurf. Is this a rent-a-mob? As they show in the article, they show a press release from MoveOn.org calling for this to happen, saying the gatherings are being organized by MoveOn.org, so they take full responsibility for this. How does it look? Well, they say Soros-affiliated organizations across the world have been deeply connected to various color revolutions like the Arab Spring and so forth, as I mentioned in the former Soviet Union. But very key to this is to understand hacked documents that show that Soros is a puppet master pulling the strings in the Kiev revolution, going back to the Ukraine. They say that he's been in the Ukraine working with the International Resistance Foundation, the IRF, since 1989. He's given more than $100 million to Ukrainian NGOs. 2 years before the fall of the Soviet Union, he created the preconditions of Ukraine's independence from Russia in 1991, and he admitted to financing the Maiden Square protests. Now, this continues on into the Orange Revolutions, and we don't have time to go into all the documents. And yet, what we see here from WikiLeaks, we also see Hillary Clinton's involvement. She received $25 million from George Soros. And we see from some of the Hillary Clinton emails that they're in a subject called unrest in Albania. Soros makes it clear, Free Thought points out, to Clinton that two things needed to be done urgently. He said, bring the full weight of the international community to bear on Prime Minister Berisha, appoint a senior European official as mediator, and then he tells then Secretary of State Hillary Clinton exactly who he wants to take the place of the person that they're overthrowing. He is the puppet master. But it's not just George Soros. We know that the deep state and others are involved in this. Going back to 2013, InfoWars reported that Senator McCain was pimping for the CIA-spawned color revolution in Ukraine. So it's not just the Democrats. It is the establishment at the top. It is the secret deep state involving the CIA, and they're the ones who are coming after Donald Trump. It is a setup. We need to understand the end game. We need to understand what their long-term strategy is, and this is the tactic that we have seen throughout Eastern Europe. This is a common enemy, just as ISIS is, of both the U.S. and Russia and other states. For Infowars.com, I'm David Knight.
been watching all of this is Darren Beattie. He's a former speechwriter for President Trump. He works now with Revolver News, the website. He says this is part of a familiar plan. In a recent piece, Revolver argued that Democratic operatives, including some who testified during the impeachment proceedings, are adopting the same tactics that U.S. intel agencies use to start so-called color revolutions in places like Ukraine. Darren Beattie joins us tonight to explain. Darren, thanks so much for coming on. So, for our viewers who are not familiar with the color revolutions in Eastern Europe, state as clearly as you can what you think is going on right now in this election. What's the end game for Democrats?
Yes, thank you for having me. Many have described the actions taken against Trump as a coup. And this is certainly correct, but it's a little bit general and vague. What's unfolding before our eyes is a very specific type of coup called the color revolution. It's a regime change model favored by many in our national security apparatus, particularly against Eastern European countries, to overthrow, target regimes that they don't like. One model, which is not the color revolution model, is purely sending a bunch of troops into a country and removing by military force a leader you don't like. That's like the Iraq model.
Right.
The color revolution model is a little bit more delicate and subtle. It has several characteristics, but the chief characteristics of it is a combination of an engineered contested elections scenario combined with massive mobilized protests, which they call, as a term of art, peaceful protests and acts of civil disobedience. If that sounds familiar, it gets even better. It's not only the same strategies and tactics used against Trump that's used against Eastern European dictators that our national security apparatus doesn't like. It's literally the same people who are color revolution professionals who have a long history of using these same tactics against foreign leaders they don't like to use against democratically elected President Donald Trump. It's the same people using the very same playbook. Now, I'd like to talk about one of the key figures in this operation, a nexus point not only between color revolutions overseas and the color revolution against Trump, but a nexus point between lawfare and mass mobilization and so-called peaceful protests. This is a man by the name of Norm Eisen. Norm Eisen is a key legal hatchet man, Democrat operative, former Obama ethics czar, believe it or not. And he is also a key architect of nearly every effort to censor, sue, impeach, and overthrow the president. He is the author of, in fact, a color revolution playbook, literally called the playbook. And one of the items he calls for in his playbook to overthrow regimes overseas he doesn't like is engineering election fraud scenarios, using election fraud to engineer mass protests to question the legitimacy of the target leader. Norm Eisen has a long and checkered history going all the way back to his days at Crew, which is a lawfare arm. He's been behind over 180 lawsuits against Trump. He authored 10 articles of impeachment before the president's phone call was even made. He was special counsel to the Democrats for the impeachment process. He was literally involved in every aspect of this color revolution against Trump. His latest act, and perhaps his greatest act coming up, is to use lawfare in order to overturn the 2020 election using various legal theories, principally his theory about...
Norm Eisen. Remember the name. I'm sorry, Darren, we're out of time. I appreciate that. We'll be right back. Thank you.
So there we have it. Norm Eisen just reconfirming, or Tucker just reconfirming exactly what the we just saw before. Darren Beattie confirms with us that Norm Eisen's working directly for the Democratic National Convention, definitely for Biden, and we're watching a level of manipulation and attempted coup takeover. So it's a wild journey, but got another little clip here to watch, and this is from OAN. They're the only one of the only ones who've been 100% with us, staying straight.
President Trump won 4 more years in office last night. North Carolina, Florida, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin are all Trump's. Even Arizona, which somehow has Biden winning, is rampant with voter fraud. Nevada, same thing. This is a decisive victory for Trump. Yet, in the wee hours of the morning, when Trump had a large margin of victory, particularly in Pennsylvania and Michigan, the Democrat leadership of the state stopped the vote counts. Why on earth would you stop counting? Because Trump is clearly winning and they need time to find more ballots. The American people have spoken and are sick and tired of the games Democrats are playing, taking for granted that Americans will just accept whatever the Democrat leadership and liberal media say is fact. The fact is that Donald Trump won a second term last night. Democrats are tossing Republican ballots, harvesting fake ballots, and delaying the results to create confusion. They want their Antifa buddies to cause chaos in American cities so that Americans stop focusing on the election and start fearing their own safety. If Antifa comes into Washington, D.C. and other Democrat-run cities around the country, it's because the Democrat Party wants to hold Americans hostage, and they'll use violence to do it. They hope if you focus on your physical safety and fear the chaos in the streets, that enough people won't pay attention to realize they miraculously found enough ballots to call the state for Biden. No way. Pennsylvania, Governor Wolf, you have had more than enough time to count your ballots, and Trump is leading with 55% of the votes in your state. Your Secretary of State needs to call it. Why aren't you counting your remaining votes? You're complicit with trying to steal this election. Governor Whitmer of Michigan, your Secretary of State needs to call your state for Trump. We all know you hate him, and none of us care. Do your job and announce that Donald Trump won Michigan. Democrats have been preaching that the results will take too long to count and that there will be a delay. There's no reason for a delay, but to delay the inevitable. Trump won. How long are conservatives going to sit back and clutch their pearls saying Democrats are cheating, but not do anything about it? Conservatives, raise your voice. If you're in a state that hasn't been announced, call your Secretary of State, call your governor. The silent majority has spoken and must continue to speak. Conservatives are, well, conservative by nature and aren't that great at fighting back against corruption. Now's the time. Do not sit back and watch the map turn your red state blue. Why on earth did Democrats stop counting? They're cheating. There's no reason to stop but for the fact they know they will lose. So they have to delay the result to try to find a solution. Finish the tally and give the American people the result. We all know Trump won. He likely won by a large majority of electoral votes. Democrats are boldly cheating because they think they have you fooled. They think you'll just accept whatever result they say. Let them know they aren't fooling anyone. If you live in an undecided state, call your Secretary of State now.
There we have it. Well said, Christina Bob. It's man, I've never seen anything this fiery. I know I feel like I keep saying it over and over, but I still just can't believe it's actually happening. I was prepared for this. I was fully aware that this was about to happen. Honestly, I'm in disbelief. Really, honestly, just um, so 3 days and 3 nights here on Twitter. Posted this a few hours ago. Let's all thank at GritTwit2 for reminding us of this gem from that real Donald Trump. He tried to warn us, which means he knew, which means he set traps. Rigged 2020 election, millions of mail-in ballots will be printed by foreign countries and others. It will be the scandal of our times. So Donald Trump warned us. He knew it ahead of time. So if he knew it ahead of time, you obviously know we prepared, ready for that. And so some interesting stuff just came out. This was posted by Bricklebear1 Twitter, and it's a retweet of David Burney or DJ Burney1 on Twitter. Consider the Department of Homeland Security controlled official ballots production. Dems print extras not knowing about the non-radioactive isotope watermark on official ballots. Military sting operation. So maybe this was the largest election military sting operation ever done. What if this was the only way to wake people up from imposed swan song of the American public? What if this was the plan? What if Donald Trump put this together with the administration and the Department of Justice and all of those patriots who are in the government who wanted to expose this knew it was happening? It's seems to be the plan to me. And as we go forward here, I think we're going to realize that this true plan, this true situation was a setup from the get go. And instead of seeing arrests like we thought about, instead we see all the major crimes like Russian Gate, like Joe Biden's laptop or Hunter Biden's laptop, and all the fraud. And until we see all that exposed, this was the fraud that was needed to be exposed right away to take back our country, to bring back sovereignty to the people, to bring some faith back into the election process. So this was friend Ethical Hacker XS, or get your daily dose on the Red Pill Project. Red Pill Project Daily Dose is a great platform. It's probably going on around the same time that I am right now. I'd like to figure if I can make that a little bit better. I've been watching Josh on the Red Pill Project for quite a while, and if you get a chance, check his show out. He's very put together guy. I like that his perspective. He has a very factual perspective. Doesn't go off on strange theories that can't be proven. He loves facts, and I respect that a lot. So, um, if you ever watch this, Josh, thanks for checking me out, and thanks for inspiring me to do a show. So this is a retweet from Joe M, where the storm is upon us. Parlor. Joe is one of the most influential in this movement for me. His videos have been a big tool of mine to use to red pill people. So think about it. What would unite the entire country behind the issue of voter fraud? Both sides felt they were victims. It needed to be close so that both sides would blame each other and demand action. Trump is going to win 273. Liberals believe he stole it somehow. Patriots will expose the millions of fraudulent ballots. The truth will be revealed. Trust the plan. The storm is upon us. Joe M. So, if that's the case, then we're looking at the greatest election sting ever. And it's going to expose all the election fraud and is going to usher in a time period of a solid, truthful, uncorrupted election process in the future, which will actually bring faith of the people back to the importance of their individual vote. 4 years ago, during the 2016 election, was so disenfranchised by the things that I saw, the corruption that I'd witnessed, especially when I was looking at the Democratic Party and looked at the way that the Democratic National Convention um, basically shafted Bernie. Uh, they specifically came out and said and admitted it that they set the entire situation up to put Hillary Clinton in place, admitted the fraud, and I mean, we've known since, for me, I've known since Al Gore and George Bush with the hanging Chad, that this election process had been manipulated and fraudulent, and continued to be apparent to me as I continue to watch the rest of the elections over the last six elections or so now. Maybe it's only been five. Time flies, doesn't it? Um, but we do know that this level of voter fraud on every level, from the local level all the way up to the presidential level, has been incredibly apparent. It's been a big issue, taking away from the credibility of our democracy and literally taking the faith away from the electoral process. And so, if we're going to take this country back, we need to expose the voter fraud. We need going to take this country back. If we're going to be this pillar of freedom within this country, within this world, then we need to have free and fair elections, just like we need to have free and fair news, and we need to have free and fair open community platforms, which is now called social media. But that needs to be taken back as well, and that needs to be brought back to a public platform, especially if these corporations are being protected by the open public forum laws. So if they continue to act as censoring services that controls a message, then they no longer deserve the protection of the community platform laws, and they should be held accountable, especially for election fraud, especially in censoring of main our president, of the main lawmakers of our country. It's not up to the media, it's not up to our mainstream news and these big tech corporations to control what we think. It's not up to them to control what we're allowed to say. And so there's an opportunity right now for us to rise up and be able to take away this control that has been put upon us and start to take back the true meaning of the First Amendment, take back the the true strength of a democracy and the election process. And now all of these darknesses are being brought to light. And this is our chance. This is our chance as patriots. This is our chance as proud supporters of our president who have fought for us to stand up and fight for him. So we need to share our voices. We need to share this information with all of our neighbors, all of our friends, and we need to start dealing red pills. And either they take it nice and easy, or they get it the opposite direction, very forceful manner. But it's going to come, and there's no choice in that matter. And you can either get on board with what's happening, or you're going to be forced to get on board down the line against your will. And it's going to be a lot more uncomfortable to get shoved into the woke, uh, the awakening, uh, than it is to willfully begin to walk down the rabbit hole. So as we go forward, we're going to continue to keep our eyes open, keep our minds open. I might come on live again tonight or tomorrow if I see something that needs to be shared. But if you like, follow this message, share the links. If anybody's watching, this is a brand new platform for me. And this is only the third stream that I've put out there. And I hope to be able to continue to grow this. And I hope that I can have some guests on in the future. And hopefully I have some people actually watching and listen to what I have to say. Because if not, it's just me here talking to myself. But it's all right because, it's therapy for me in a lot of ways. I get to talk it out. And instead of talking everyone else's ear off around me. So eventually I'd love to have a call-in situation where I can have some guests call in, but I guess I need to build up an audience before that happens. So if you like what I have to say, if you like what I'm sharing, if you like how I'm building this platform, share it, like it, tell your friends about it. Um, Leave me comments if you'd like. And if you want to send me a message, I'm going to eventually take some donations here to make this all be possible. And eventually, once I get my act together and I can actually make this happen in a better way, I'd love to do a daily show and actually have a set time. But for now, I'm doing it when I can and keeping it convenient. And I do some live red pill events, as I call them, which I did last night for election night, and had a group of people come together and share the current updates and the information, and hopefully we'll continue to keep doing that within our communities, and eventually get some of the people who I've connected with throughout that live red pilling community to come on here live and be able to share some information. And hopefully at some point I can get some of the people that I've been watching and that inspired me to start this show to come on my show and have a little chat. And just want to continue to be a platform where I can share information. I want to be a platform where I can invite people on and share their thoughts, their ideas, their this research that they've been doing, and eventually we'll expand beyond politics and beyond election and beyond our favorite patriot insider, and get into some more spiritual concepts, get into some more scientific and technological concepts, get into some truth about some history and some pre-cataclysmic cataclysmic societies, and maybe we'll even talk about some time travel. Maybe we'll even talk about some extraterrestrial situations. See if we can dive into some of those mysteries and expose some truths. This is going to be a platform where I continue to just share all the things I'm passionate about. About platform where we can continue to connect people to some ideas that may be outside of the normal mainstream concept of thinking. So thanks for joining me. May we all hold the line and stay true to the ideals and that live within our heart. May we have the faith in our POTUS. May we pray for our POTUS. May he be protected. May the people around him be protected. And may the truth come to light. May these darkness, this dark energies begin to dissipate and fall away. And may the light shine on all of their treasonous actions, all of their corruption, all of the ways they've disenfranchised the American population and the world. And may all beings be able to rise and be happy and free of suffering. And may we all be prosperous and live in a sovereign world where we all have choice, freedom within our own body, the freedom to walk down the street without a mask on, the freedom to run our businesses without fear of manipulation, beginning to trust our votes without the risk of fraud, be able to truly come together as communities and support each other's endeavors, support each other's families, support each other's dreams. May we all be able to find peace within our hearts. Thank you so much. I'll be seeing you again soon. Keep praying for our president. Much love. Aloha.